Welcome to 99th Monkey News for Friday, June 20th, 2014. And as we are approaching summer solstice, I had a thought this morning that we tend to think that things are going to go on as they are. If you didn't know about the seasons and you were in this time of the year, you might think that the days were going to perpetually continue to get longer and warmer, and maybe be kind of worried about that. But that is not the case. We come to a turning point and things change in a different direction. And I think there's a tendency for us to have a hard time believing that things can change significantly. But this morning I want to kind of highlight how they can and how they are. And as we pray and communicate with people and work for a better future, I believe they can change for the better. Here is evidence of change that the U.S. will not perpetually be at the center of world power. Certainly economically, Sherry Questioning All had an article a few days ago. IMF states headquarters may be in China in the future. China in UK securing trade deals right now. Update: yuan trade deal reached with UK, no US dollars. The US is grasping at their waning control of the IMF, which is frustrating Christine Lagarde and other countries. And this obviously significant change when the UK is dealing directly with China and the deal is based on yuan, not dollars. This pretty much has to signify a weakening of the influence of the Federal Reserve, and this is just one example. These kinds of deals are being made frequently at this time between nations of the earth, cutting out the U.S. and the dollar and the influence that we once had over the world economy. To some people it might, there's a tendency to feel a little insecure when we hear that the U.S. is waning in influence. But if you look back at the time around the beginning of World War I and before World War I, the U.S. was quite isolationist, and we had our resources, we had our people, and we were doing very well. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure how else will play out, but if we could have the opportunity to be our own and rebuild our nation, I think that we might do quite well. This article is an example of something that has not really changed yet, evidently. From Philosopher's Stone: European royals killing naked children for fun at human hunting parties. There are eyewitnesses to these kind of atrocities, and anyone who has read Kathy O'Brien's book knows that Bryce Taylor may have been in her book certainly one of the mind control slaves had actually been hunted. I think it was Bryce Taylor had actually been hunted naked, wearing only tennis shoes, by Dick Cheney and Papa Bush. So this is not news that this is happening. What is news to some extent is that William Van Dyne, self-proclaimed king of the world and head of the Illuminati, had declared to Fritz Springmeier that the pedophiles and Satan worshippers are being purged from the Illuminati. Now, the argument might be made that the European royals are not part of the Illuminati. Well, they go to the Bilderberg meetings. So here is just evidence of, again, something that has not changed yet, that there was a claim made that it had changed, that the Illuminati was purging pedophiles and Satan worshippers. This is not the case, according to this article. However, there are trials going on, there are hearings going on, and it's the International Common Law Court of Justice. And the woman who has discussed this, been a witness to these atrocities, is testifying there. So that's certainly something that we all hope and pray will change very soon. And I, for one, am glad that this is being exposed on an international scale. May God bring justice. I have an article from Paul Craig Roberts. It's a little pessimistic. Professor Francis Boyle on impeachment of Bush and Obama, and Paul Craig Roberts is stating in this article that it doesn't appear that we will obtain justice through impeachment because Nancy Pelosi said impeachment is off the table. So the conclusion here is both political parties are irredeemably evil. Neither has any redeeming virtues. And we will see where this leads. I do believe that change can come, and I have an article that I'll share in a minute that highlights that. This is from theguardian.com. CNN, Don and I don't watch CNN, but we happened to be in a restaurant last night, and we're surprised to see that on CNN they were discussing the results of the election in Iraq, and they were claiming that Maliki had won the election, which is contrary to what we had heard in an article that I shared the other day. However, we both found it very interesting that CNN would even mention the Iraq elections. And it does seem that there is I guess the mainstream media seems to be trying to catch up and get out in front of some of these stories and sell us their bill of goods. There's this rumble about whether America will get involved or not. And there's a statement here that the crisis is not as alarming as some have maintained, and U.S. and Iranian involvement could make it much worse. And that opinion is being expressed more strongly and in more places. Alex Jones stated yesterday that there's a bill in Congress that would call for immediate impeachment proceedings if Obama were to take any kind of military action anywhere without congressional approval. So there is this balance. There is this pushback against the unconstitutional behavior of this administration and this rogue government that is operating in the U.S. And another example of that pushback is what I'm using as good news for the day. From RT, HAARP's future uncertain as Air Force plans to dismantle the program. And another statement from Alex Jones yesterday had to do with the military. I think he had a caller who has friends in the military, and the troops are being given copies of the Constitution and taught what their constitutional obligations are, what their constitutional role is, according to the oath that they have taken. So, and low-level military commanders are participating in that education. So there are many, many good people who are participating in the struggle for liberty and justice, and for a government that functions according to the rule of law under the Constitution. As far as the details of this HAARP issue, the U.S. Air Force has given Congress official notice that it plans to start dismantling its Alaska-based high-frequency active auroral research program ahead of the site's shutdown later this summer. The controversial program, also known as HAARP, has been home to a large number of conspiracy theories, but it will officially be taken offline at the conclusion of a final research experiment in June. I wonder what Dutch Sense will do after they dismantle HAARP. I'm just kidding. There may be other arrays in other places, but this appears to be evidence, again, that the military is exercising its influence to restore a safer and truly safer, not, gunless, not, take the guns away, but a truly safer and more constitutional United States of America. And hey, maybe we'll even get rid of the de facto government at some point and have a restoration of our constitutional republic. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Hope you enjoy this long day. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And again, that was the message that I wanted to emphasize today, that no matter how permanent circumstances appear, they're not. And in life and in the world, change is the constant. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and enforce the Bill of Rights.